You see the stripes? It's only right. Like a motherfucking Yankee. You know, we talk politics and this shit. So, what we gonna do is, I gotta turn this music down because Meek Mill cooking. Okay. I'm gonna be ranking the presidents that I've seen since I've been alive or around the time I've been alive. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm gonna start out with Reagan. I'm gonna just jump into it. I'm gonna see if I can get one in every category: S, A, B, C, D, F. But I'm gonna be grading 7, so there's only 6. I'm probably not even gonna use S, to be honest with you. So like Reagan, I might move him around after I put him in there, okay? Cause like once you start really putting them next to each other and you get some context, like, oh wait, like, yeah, I really just want to start with this guy at like a D. We're gonna start with him at a D. The 80s was a good time, but you can't give this man too much credit for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, should he get an Elf? Okay, let me see. I got a couple of things written down about Reagan. If going to fake space, let me not even do the conspiracy things, but if going to space was the best thing that you did in your 8-year presidency term, that's a problem. If like going somewhere that's a figment of most people's imagination is the best thing you did in 8 years when you were supposed to be leading a group of people, and like what you pay Stanley Kubrick 100,000 to like, okay, we're not gonna talk about that. Oh, we got the war on drugs. Started off nice with Mr. Reagan there. You know, wasn't Nancy Reagan saying to just say no campaign while Mr. Reagan was flooding thousands of kilos and thousands of I'm not going to say here am. Just kilos of drugs into the inner cities. Yeah, in LA, I think 2/3 of the crack users were white, but between 86 and 94, 88, 94, my God, Meek Mill's cooking, but not one white person got charged with a federal drug offense. But do you know how many black people was getting locked up for that shit? 2/3 of the users were white people. I mean, it's just clear. If 2/3 of the users were white people, just in LA alone, now one got charged for a federal offense in those 8 years. But many black people were getting locked up. So it's like you got your wife, you know, I'm not saying she's a proper shill or anything, but she's having a just say no campaign, having the wives and the kids of these men chant, just say no, just say. Her husband is the leader of the country, flooding thousands and thousands and thousands of kilos into the country from Iran. We got the Iran Contra. You know, like we could keep going with this shit, but we not going to, because this nigga doesn't need no more fucking spotlight. How can we not get a motherfucking cigar from Cuba, but we can get thousands of kilos of crack, or excuse me, cocaine from whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's very obvious that like, what's the numbers? I want to look it up just so I don't say something wrong. Um, the father of trickle down economics. Does anybody know what that did? Besides not take money from the rich and then pay that money they didn't take from the rich to the. Okay, I don't know, but anyways, protested against crack but flooded the drugs to the inner cities. You would need 100 times the amount of crack as cocaine to get locked up. Cocaine was a rich white people drug. Crack was a broke boy drug, or you know. So you would need 100 times the amount of cocaine as you would crack. Traded guns for hostages. I mean, you're president. You do what you do to get your, you know what I'm saying? But like, it's just more and more shit that's just like, uh, increase the military budget by hundreds of millions of dollars. We ain't got no enemy though. You also were offered to not fight in space and have world peace, and you turned that down. So you never needed to spend 100 million if you would have just like the whole Star Wars program and what all happened with that in Russia in that meeting. Maybe it'll be world peace right now. You know, when you get asked to rid the earth of the atomic bomb and move forward, sometimes it just, bite the bullet. You know what I'm saying? So we got him at D. He could easily be F, but I really want to save. Nah, man, that nigga's a fucking F, yo. Nigga's an F. This guy, George H.W. Bush. Should he even touch this? He touched the C. This guy's gonna go to the fucking Fs. Okay. For one. This man gets, he should get a lot more hate just for breeding George W. Bush, but the things he did in his presidency alone were enough just hate for him. If you were to just Google, hold up. I want to show you guys something. Because it's actually pretty oh, shit. I'm not good. Check this out. Meek Mill, goddamn. So, George H.W. Bush may be the most George H.W. Bush may be the most destructive one-term president ever. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come back to this motherfucker. So, next I want to talk about Bill Clinton. You know, This shit, I should have really did this shit before I started because this is tough. Like, is he as bad as Ronald Reagan? Is he as... You know what? We gonna fuck around. Fuck around. I just gotta do this. George H.W. Bush. If Donald Trump was to be a B, you would need to be an F minus. So like, you need to go right there. I I just can't even. I can't even say nothing about you, man. Bill Clinton, you signed a mass incarceration act knowing it was gonna lock up 20 million black people, G, over the next few however many years. You not only took and passed and signed a bill called the Mass Incarceration Act to lock up 20 million blacks off of the drugs that Ronald Reagan had flooded in here prior, but you also invested in the privately owned prisons that would lock those up and got paid. I mean, what'd you guys go into the office with? You and Mrs. I'm not gonna say her right name. You and your lady. A couple 100,000? Would you guys leave with a few elms? Yo, look at the Haiti Foundation that all went to the Clinton organ. You know, you don't want to say too much about this shit, but like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna say you get a D, bro. I really want to say Elf because you locked up. You literally ruined so many fucking families, like so many families. You've ruined so many You didn't ruin them. I'm not gonna give you that credit, but you set back. You attempted to set back and destruct in an attempt to destroy so many African American families, already low income families. You took the father away. You started bringing in programs that would make, and George H.W. Bush as well. George Bush, yes, social programs, cool. Some people love them. Some people, I don't know. The motive is what it is when you purposely make somebody live in lack by taking away the man of the household. In your own country, you're doing this, knowing that they're getting trapped. Like, hey, you're not like, okay, we don't need it. I could spend an hour talking about this nigga, but yeah, you just don't. The president's job is to, one, do no harm, and two, to preserve and protect and whatever this Constitution. And I just don't know, like, if that's the Constitution, like, then I'm good. But I'm gonna just assume that's not the constitutional shit. I ain't really read this shit, to be honest with y'all. I'm over here talking about best presidents. So look, when you have a guy over a span of less than a decade put something in office that gives 20 million black fathers, generally speaking, so let's say it was 10 million black fathers and 10 million young black men or old black men that weren't fathers, were sons, that destroys families. Petty drug crimes as well. Petty. I'm not even talking about the little, oh, you had some air. I'm talking about bullshit. So, you know, that leads to women going on food stamps, women going on government assistance, women relying on the government, women saying that it's like a whole, it all comes back to the white man taking care of you again. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all was building up, y'all got your house, y'all got your community, y'all got this, even though it's not the best community. They love that community, and then you flood fucking addicting cheap ass drugs in there, and get everybody fucking addicted, and then you make a law that says, yo, if you're addicted to these drugs and you can't function without them, we're gonna lock you up and take you away from your family. All right. Next up will be George Bush. You also get a F. Bro, I just need to check the notes just to make sure. Cause if I miss something, I have in my notes for George Bush is, why you keep on shooting if you know that nigga dead? And that's a song that Drake sang, but like it just comes to mind. He was the architect of the most disastrous war, 9/11. He basically promised that there was weapons of mass destruction, was there for however many years, didn't find them. I don't know if you guys know, but it's not like just gold, like little nuggets of bars of gold that you can just hide. You know, it's like, you guys seen have you guys seen pictures of weapons of mass destruction? Like, I'm not talking about little, swords and toothpicks and whatever. Like pocket knives, 22s, like whatever people. I'm talking about weapon. If you go into a country and start murdering people, like Burger King people, you better be fucking damn sure. Like, yeah, okay. So the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, people usually just think like the Middle East is just all one. There was a war in Iraq and there was a war in Afghanistan. Oh, for real? That's crazy. The response to Katrina. So, how are you protecting your people? Like, you can handle some shit over fucking an ocean, a whole body of water, maybe two bodies of water in some cases. But when your own people are just struggling, you just fly over, see how they're doing, and like just keep it moving, bro. How people move is real telling, you know. Like, bro, you the president of the United States, bro. Like, they write books about this shit in 100 years, bro. Like, they'll be like, King David saw his people struggling and rode past on a horse. His people hated him. Like, do you not think about this shit, bro? Like, Kanye got a lot of hate for saying George Bush, and he ain't even land, but like, George Bush hates black people. Like, niggas who made it there, like, they don't just go off and say dumbass shit that don't make no fucking sense. Like, that shit makes fucking sense. That nigga does not like black people. When that shit's accepted, probably shit in a lot of people's lives would just be like, oh. And I don't think it's just black people. I think it's probably brown. It's all type of people that ain't, you know. He based his decisions on fear and emotions and didn't use logic and reasons. Like I said, I'm not gonna try and touch on too much conspiracy shit. We don't need to go into 9/11. If it happened to be, which many people have proved in many different areas, whether it's the architects who can say that the steel can't melt from jet fuel, or if it's the pilots who've tried to recreate the flight patterns, and professional pilots said they couldn't even do it on simulation machines, along with ground testimonies, many people's talking about the six, We don't need to touch it. If you want to go down that rabbit hole and talk about what happened after, before, leading up, how that airline company took out millions of dollars of stock and short sold the stock and did all. If you want to talk about the largest frauds in history that just happened to be tied up with this and someone had a hunch, look, regardless, even if there was terrorists, how he handled the shit was ass. But given the fact that there might have not been, and this shit was all own attack, really in your own country, because thousands of people died in your country, not just the people that got hit in the plane, but the people in the building, and thousands of people who ran to the building to help, first responders. Like, y'all niggas want to sit here and talk about first respond. This nigga's still living. If this nigga, like, people gotta really look at this shit. But anyway, yo, if 4,000 of first responders or 400 or first responders died during your presidency from like, yeah, and then you also go to another country because you say that they have weapons there and you kill thousands of their people and you're using drones and you're doing a fucked up shit. You know, I've ain't been ever the president that I can recall, but like maybe there's things I don't know, and maybe there's things that they do that they have to move certain ways, and they can't say too much, and maybe it is just a really tough job, and these people are really proper, and they don't say like, "Yo, this is why I had all these 20 million black people locked up," because like if they weren't, like this would have happened with the energy of the world, and like it needed to be, you know, maybe there's a divine plan that these. No, fuck that shit. The fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're funny. You guys really were probably going with that shit for a minute too. Purposely lied. I have notes. Purposely lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. I'm not gonna say purposely, but a lot of people believe that. Approved of torturing prisoners. Like I said, I ain't really been in the position to like, you know, need to get an answer. So some people say all is fair in love and war. Some people say that there is rules in war that you just don't do, and I'm pretty sure, you know, I ain't gonna speak about it. Um, Bush just simply flying over Katrina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, parts of Georgia, flying over the whole Hurricane Katrina. Didn't want to talk to nobody. Just wanted to fly over and see the hurt. After the devastation areas were cleared, took FEMA a minute to get there to help too. You know, 9/11 was worse, I think. I'm not sure because I wasn't there and I wasn't at Pearl Harbor, but I would say that 9/11 happened to its own civilians and Pearl Harbor happened to people in the military, which aren't really like considered civilians when they're on duty. They're considered like military. They're supposed to keep the militia, you know, they're supposed to military, you know, the civilians. So it's like we can't really say the country was protected. We can't say he didn't do no harm. So the operations to use military force, Mr. Bush, still being used today. It basically gave you a free blank check to just go attack whoever you thought was a terrorist. And yeah, it's still being used today. The U.S. Patriot Act stripped some civil liberties. The Iraq War, dragging out the Afghanistan War. The Great Repression. My good. That's for your father. I had his father for some of these, man, because they're just both so ass. Like, George Bush, all the shit that came from 9/11. Like, even if it wasn't really a thing, like, there's never been a hydrogen bomb on a plane. There's never been a water bomb on a plane. Like, so what's all this control about making us take the water to the trash and pour it out because we can't bring on water on the plane? You know, it's all just, I just feel like it's a lot of fear mongering with your ass, bro. It's all not even real. But anyway, I got you at an F2. Crony capitalism for you and your pops, like, you're both big believers. The bailed out the big banks and the corporations, no child left behind. Mr. Bush, you could ask some teachers how they feel about that, or mothers how they feel about no child left behind. Detaining suspects without warrants, no charge of a crime or due process. The AUMF Act, like the authorization to use military force, which was supported by Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden following his 9/11. Yeah, and like I said, you made decisions of fear just like your father, and also never learn when to quit, just like your people. So for that, you get an FG. You, Mr. Barack Obama, I'm going to give you a C, bro. I'm gonna give you a C for sure, cause like even a placebo effect is sometimes good, and you were a great placebo until you weren't. We may not know like the full effects of like everything. I could say one thing you're known for is Obamacare, and to me, like what? Anyway, so I said another thing were known for was change, hope, change. So like, you came in after Bush, what, 08? Did you change any of his fucked up policies that he implemented? No. Okay. So you're already in there for 4 years. And then you run again, and what was your campaign then? Hope, or was it change that time? It was like, was it hope for something to change that you promised, or was it change for the hope you had? Anyway, bro, like, I think you did more for the gays and the Jews than you ever did for any black people, which is cool and like dandy and fine. I'm sure like a lot of presidents did that, but I think you, looking how you look and being who you are, had a lot of African Americans excited, and I hope that they don't think that the puppet of a president is the limit for them, because a lot of them looked up to you and saw that you did not do shit. You guys gotta remember, like, Twitter, Snapchat, Vine, like all this shit, black people getting shot in the streets and getting recorded on camera started like around his presidency. And when we finally had someone that we could kind of like relate to, or we felt could relate and understand, maybe perceive a situation kind of like with a different light and say like, yo, offer some, maybe even help out with some like, not point any blame, but be like, yo, something's got to change. And time after time after time, like, you kind of had a duty to uphold, bro. Like, just to like be there for the people. and I didn't really see you quarterbacking a lot of shit. You like bringing up the team's morale. You were a great speaker, but like if I'm looking for a president, I'm looking for a doer, not just somebody who's every time I call, I'm like, yo, have a great day, you know, like, ah. But it's like, yo, honestly, like, motherfuckers is snowed in, and there's nothing that we can do about it from the inside. Like, we need somebody from the outside to come and start shoveling out. The door is locked, like, it won't even open, and it's a, you know, like, until the snow melts. If we all just get to breathing, but like, you could come help, and it could be it could really assist. We would really appreciate. Nada, just nothing. You know, like, yo, bro, you could be like, yo, Eric Garner, you know, Michael, you could be like Trey, you know, you could have like did. I feel like just a little more, just like a little bit would have gone a long way. So you get to see because not everybody knows just the bullshit, the drones. Not everybody knows the. I'm not. I don't want. I don't. I'll tell people about the other people because it was actually, you know, like out there. I feel like they was out there. I think I give you the benefit of the doubt that maybe you just was a puppet and like you weren't really doing all this crazy shit. You was just sitting there like to get black people to calm the fuck down. You know, and that's not what black people needed. Black people needed to, you know, they need to go riot and go seek the change, not just like elect a black leader for change and then watch him do nothing for 8 years while niggas were getting shot in the streets, while the jobs were going like while a lot of so next we've got Donald Trump. And because I ranked Barack Obama as a C because he had a good voice and he talked to people and he made them feel good, does that mean I should rank Donald Trump lower because when he talked he didn't make people feel good? Hmm. Hello? Um, I'm still recording. What's up? Well, yeah, when I'm done. Huh? Okay. Do you want me to come put it back up? Are you sure? So, I'm just. I just gotta give him a B. Like, I do. And I know that's gonna be a lot of. I know it's gonna be a lot of but I don't really know anything. I'd give him an A if he didn't really just make so many people lose sleep. You know, do no harm, bro. Is like it's you know I gotta give you a C, bro. Like I'm not saying your words were harmful, but you had no. You gotta go to me. But still, look, you had to be conscious of like, if I say this, right, these people gonna feel this way, which is cool, but like, yeah, it's like the Kanye thing. It's like, no, good publicity, bad publicity. It's all publicity, and that's how you lose an election by like a couple percent. Cause it's like, yo, they hate me, they love, they hate you, they love you. Like, they love me, they love me. Like, but I give Donald Trump such a high regard because when I look at all the shit the others did, when I look at like, you know, just the just the war. They call it a war on drugs, but it's a war on black people, and just like year after year of just brown people, then black people, then it, and it. Like then like you can look at what happened at Whitewater. With George. You can look at certain things. You can see um, airplane pilots talking about how they flew over 3 miles of just discarded bodies from like the George H.W. Bush administration. You can see how he put 400 some people in an incinerator. You can see like Hitler-esque level shit with these people. You know what I'm saying? These people, you look at their pictures and if you look in their eyes too long, you'll just be like, don't do it. It's good. It'll cook. Donald Trump. I went to this nigga's rally, his inaugurate, whatever this shit is, before he president, and I'm like, yo, everybody hates this nigga. Let me see what he's talking about. So I went there, and I was the only brown person there. It was a whole bunch of white folk. It was like a pretty dope experience, and I remember he says something about Somalian people. Not even about them, just about the situation. He said Minneapolis and St. Paul. This is just like my 6-year-old memory. Okay, so this is the context. Minneapolis and St. Paul, you do not have the infrastructure to support an influx of 30 to 50,000 Somalians over the next 4 or 5 years. We need to stop this. There's other places like, I don't remember if he said, but maybe Dakotas, Iowa, Wisconsin, that can barely sustain and suit this amount of people. Nothing racist about it. It was very logical coming from a business perspective. If you were to treat your business, your country like a company, and your states like branches, you say, hey, this branch, its capacity is 300. You guys want to put 10 like, I don't give a fuck if they are refugees. Put them over here. This boat got to, and it was just, he said it dry. He said his job was to be the president and to make sure shit was smooth. People after Donald Trump said their life was better than it was 4 years ago. If it wasn't for the news and the social media, everybody was living until the panoramic thing happened. But still, even during the panoramic, other than this, it was all like trying to implement fear into your heads and make you think that shit was crashing and burning. Yes, people actually did let it manifest through them, and they actually started making shit crash and burn. But the moral of the story is, Donald Trump really didn't do nothing so crazy. Like, going on to Joseph, I'm gonna just give you a DG, cause like, you only a couple years in, bro, and you're already kind of like, personally, you're already the worst president I think I've ever seen. Just on like their level, and like like a ability to make proper decisions. And the thing, I don't know if it's good or better or worse, because if you were functionally there and you could make those decisions, like, you have a very interesting track record of some decisions you made when you were 100% there 20 years ago, and you did have a sharp mind, and you were still, building up. your case to be a president. You were on the up and up, and you still had some questionable takes. So like, if you were still out there, maybe you would have more of a motive and more energy to be on some sketchy shit. Personally, I can say these four on the bottom are all F's because they've had an outlasting effect. And we've seen it. We've seen what taking 20 million black people does and locking them up does. We've seen like what happens with Iraq and Iran, and we've seen how our own soldiers and our own people come out. Like we've seen what this does. George, we've seen what your father did. We've seen what that, we've seen. Mr. Joe, like, you're trying. It seems like you're trying to make America fall apart. That's what a lot of people said about Donald Trump. Excuse me. That's what the news said about Donald Trump, but it seems like that's what's actually happening with you, Joseph. I don't really know. I don't really watch the news or nothing. All I know is I be seeing some goofy shit from you, bro. And for that, you get a D, but you are going. I put good money on it. That within 3 to 4 years, when everything about this administration is over with, you'll either be sitting right there while four of those other guys, or I won't even be able to put you on a list to look at you, G. But yeah. Cheers.